Cognitive function.
Junction, what's your function?
Hooking up words and phrases and clauses.
Cognitive function.
Junction, how's that function?
I got 3 favorite cars that get most of my job done.
Cognitive function.
Junction, what's their function?
I got and, but, and or. They'll get you pretty far.
Carl Jung and Cognitive Dimensions.
This and that.
Welcome to 4D Personality.
Carl Jung is rightfully one of the first names mentioned in the discussions around behavior, cognition, and personality. This Swiss sage pioneered modern-day psychology and contributed volumes of information across a vast array of topics. Many folks are familiar with his concepts around sensing, imagination, feeling, and thinking, but he explored many levels and layers beyond those. Let's start with the familiar today around sensing, imagination, feeling, and thinking, but then go beyond that to figure out where these emerge from and how they combine to create higher dimension cognition. All right, let's start with the familiar. Sensing, imagination, feeling, and thinking. These are often referred to as your cognitive functions, and they are the 4 tools you use to engage with the world. Sensing absorbs 5 sense detail. Imagination absorbs intuited patterns. Feeling weighs emotional values, and thinking weighs logical reasons. We each prefer one of these in our typical everyday activity, and we tend to neglect its opposite. However, this is just one level of cognition, specifically your second dimension cognition. That means it emerges from lower one-dimension cognition modes. Let's go explore some of those modes now, and then we'll see how they combine to create higher dimension cognition.
One-dimensional cognition.
There are 4 one-dimensional cognition modes, each balancing between 2 states: system, flow, charge, and action. System is your cognitive interface, balancing between body and mind. Body prefers physical experiences, mind prefers mental simulations.
The question whether the body or the mind is the predominating factor will always be answered according to temperamental differences.
Next up, we have flow, which is your cognitive processing, preferring either observe or decide. Observe prefers informative inputs, and decide prefers evaluative outputs.
These function types may be divided into 2 classes according to the quality of the basic function, that is, into the rational decisions and the irrational observations.
Next up, we have charge, your cognitive energy. Charge prefers either connect or reflect. Connect wants external variety, reflect wants internal consistency.
The attitude types are distinguished by their attitude to the object. The introvert's reflected attitude is an abstracting one, always intent on withdrawing libido from the object. The extrovert's connected attitude is constantly related to and oriented by the object.
And last, we have action, your cognitive activity, which balances between expand and optimize. Expand prefers volatile propulsion, while optimize prefers fixed curation.
Make the fixed expansively volatile, and the volatile optimally fixed, and in this you will have the whole magistry.
We each have a preference at each of these different 1D modes that combine in different ways to make our ultimate 4D cognition. Let's now go back to 2D cognition to see how these combine as we work our way back up to higher dimension cognition.
2-dimensional cognition.
Whereas each of the 1D cognition modes has 2 states, 2D cognition modes each have 4 states. Jung identified a couple of these. First, tools are cognitive functions that we referenced previously.
2D tools emerge from 1D system combined with 1D flow.
Tools balances between sensing, feeling, imagination, and thinking. These are the inputs and outputs of the body and mind.
I have often been asked why I speak of 4 functions and not of more or fewer. That there are exactly 4 was a result I arrived at on purely empirical grounds. But as the following consideration will show, these 4 together produce a kind of totality.
The body observes with sensing and decides with feeling, while the mind observes with imagination and decides with thinking.
Sensing, imagination, feeling, thinking, the 2D tools.
Sensing, 1D body combines with 1D observe to create 2D sensing. Observe with the body to absorb 5 sense details.
The sensing types depend on their 5 senses for perception. Whatever comes directly from the sensing type's own experience is trustworthy.
Imagination, 1D mind combines with 1D observe to create 2D imagination. Observe with the mind to absorb intuitive details.
The common intuitive factor is a sort of ski jump, a soaring takeoff from the known, ending in an arrival at an advanced point.
Feeling, 1D body combines with 1D decide to create 2D feeling. Decide with the body to weigh emotional values.
Feeling types, who develop skill in dealing with people, tend to be sympathetic, appreciative, and tactful.
Thinking, 1D mind combines with 1D decide to create 2D thinking. Decide with the mind to weigh logical reasons.
Thinking types become skillful in handling that which behaves logically with no unpredictable human reactions. Thinkers themselves tend to become logical and consistent.
Another example of 2D cognition is navigation, our cognitive temperaments.
2D navigation emerges from 1D charge, combined with 1D flow.
Navigation balances between gather, sort, solo, and group.
Each of us prioritizes our needs differently, and our decisions are based on which needs we put first.
These are the individual and collective inputs and outputs. Reflect sorts through personal observations and makes decisions solo. Connect gathers collective observations and makes decisions as a group.
Gather, sort, solo, group, the 2D navigations.
Gather, 1D connect combines with 1D observe to create 2D gather. Observe external variety to seek the new.
Their perception is directed simply and solely to events as they happen, no selection being made by judgment.
Sort, 1D reflect combines with 1D observe to create 2D sort. Observe internal consistency to refine the known.
What is going on inside them is so captivating and of such inexhaustible charm that they simply do not notice that the little they do manage to communicate contains hardly anything of what they themselves have experienced.
Solo, 1D reflect combines with 1D decide to create 2D solo. Decide internally to consider the individual.
To the introvert, rational judgment has many nuances which differentiate it from that of the extrovert.
Group, 1D connect combines with 1D decide to create 2D group. Decide externally to measure the collective.
For them, nothing is rational save what is generally considered as such.
There are other types of 2D cognition as well, such as causes and elements, and we'll get more into these in future videos.
3-dimensional cognition.
1D modes have 2 states, 2D modes have 4 states, and 3D modes have 8 states they balance across. Jung identified motors as our behavioral drivers, balancing across 8 different cognitive states.
3D motors emerge from 1D charge, combined with 2D tools.
Motors balances between 8 states: exploration, investigation, harmony, authenticity, interpretation, contemplation, efficiency, and accuracy.
In practice, these 4 types are always combined with the attitude type, that is, with extroversion or introversion. so that the functions appear in an extroverted or introverted variation. This produces a set of 8 demonstrable function types.
Sensing reflects with investigation and connects with exploration. Imagination reflects with contemplation and connects with interpretation. Feeling reflects with authenticity and connects with harmony. Thinking reflects with accuracy and connects with efficiency. These represent your charged cognitive tools.
Investigation, contemplation, authenticity, accuracy. The reflected 3D motors.
Investigation. 1D reflect combines with 2D sensing to create 3D investigation, refines known details.
Introverted sensation is related primarily to the subject, perceiving the subjective factor and treating the objective factor merely as stimuli, characterized by the meaning that clings to it.
Contemplation. 1D reflect combines with 2D imagination to create 3D contemplation, refines known patterns.
Although it may be stimulated by external objects, it doesn't concern itself with external possibilities, but with what the external object released within the subject.
Authenticity. 1D reflect combines with 2D feeling to create 3D authenticity, considers individual value.
Still waters run deep is very true of introverted feeling types. As they are mainly guided by their subjective feelings, their true motives generally remain hidden.
Accuracy. 1D reflect combines with 2D thinking to create 3D accuracy, considers individual logic.
Introverted thinking is characterized by the primacy of the subjective critique of knowledge, though his ideas have their origin not in objective data, but in his subjective foundation. Exploration, interpretation, harmony, efficiency. The connected 3D motors.
Exploration. 1D connect combines with 2D sensing to create 3D exploration, seeks new details.
No other human type can equal the extroverted sensation type in realism. His sense for objective facts is extraordinarily developed. This type is the lover of tangible reality.
Interpretation. 1D connect combines with 2D imagination to create 3D interpretation, seeks new patterns.
Because extroverted intuition is oriented by the object, there is a marked dependence on external situations. Because he is always seeking out new possibilities, stable conditions suffocate him.
Harmony. 1D connect combines with 2D feeling to create 3D harmony, measures collective values.
Extroverted feeling is always in harmony with objective values. Even when no clear object is present, it is still under the spell of generally accepted values of some kind.
Efficiency. 1D connect combines with 2D thinking to create 3D efficiency, measures group logic.
Extroverted thinking endeavors to make all activities dependent on intellectual conclusions, which are always oriented by objective data, whether external facts or generally accepted ideas.
Jung deeply explored 1, 2, and 3D cognition modes throughout his life's work. However, he did not venture too far into 4D cognition. That was a realm more deeply explored by Myers and Briggs. Jung was invaluable in aggregating millennia of human conscious exploration and finding modern-day application within current-day modern psychology. We will look at some of the other work he inspired, including Myers and Briggs, in future videos. We'll also circle back to some of the work Jung did around light, shadow, the hero's journey, anima, animus, collective unconscious, and transcendent function. Thank you for joining me, 4D Personality.